The newest, the fastest and most powerful motor racing form in South Africa, the Westbank Modified Saloons, with their 700 horsepower engines, come to Port Elizabeth for the first time this year to entertain the thousands of motorsport fans in the friendly city with the sound and roar of those V8 engines. All the top drivers who race these cars are in attendance, and a lot of the time, effort and money has gone into making this championship the success it is, and making sure the cars, besides topping 260 k's on this tight Aldo Scribante circuit, are also reliable. Official practice was held on Friday and saw some fortunes change for some of the favourites. Willie Hepburn in 5th spot on the grid, and Patrick Seddon, 7th overall, headed up the Westbank Cup cars ahead of the winner at Velkom, Steve Wyndham. Here's what the top 4 drivers on the starting grid had to say.
We have had a pretty stressful weekend so far, and our practice time's not good, so I think we're going to have a really hard time and a very difficult race, and I think the first corner is going to be chaos.
Yeah, it's going to be tight. We had a good practice, and we're happy with third. We're on the inside into the first corner, so that should be good.
Everyone's going well this weekend. It's going to be a tight race, not like Velkom at all. Ben's going extremely fast. So we'll see what we can do at the start. You have to make a good start. We've had problems all weekend, so still working on the car now and see if we can make it a little bit better for the race.
Not easy, looking easy, but it was hard work. We did a lap time yesterday. I think it might be the quickest the saloon car's ever gone around this circuit. It's quicker than we did with the old Westbank Modifieds of 1994, but it was hard work.
The Westbank Cup cars with a mighty 400 horsepower under the bonnet sees winner at the Goldfields race track, to say, Steve Wyndham on the front row with Patrick.
Yes, Patrick's came very well. He put me by, I think it was 0.05 of a second, so I think we're going to have a really good scrap. Still busy with the car. We've got a few problems with the shocks that I'm sorting out. And being a very bumpy circuit, you need a lot of travel, and our shocks haven't got enough travel. So, but we're sorting that out now, and I'm sure we're going to have an excellent race.
I'm very pleased. We've had a good practice session yesterday in official. It went very well. We managed to get pole position. We're very happy. Steve Wyndham is right there with us, within a 10th. He's really flying, going well. We're going to have to watch him carefully today.
The big field of these mighty cars, which can so easily get away from their drivers, warm up their tyres on the parade lap behind the Ford Falcon XR6. Ben Morgenrood dictating the pace across the start line, goes into the lead with Gary Formato right on his tail as they head down for the look Repco corner at the end of the straight. Formato having a look, sees they get onto the brakes, hauling it down into second gear from 240 k's an hour, streaming into the corner. Seddon's ahead in the Westbank Cup car, and on his tail the first cool car of Steve Wyndham is right there of Johnny Eco. It's Wyndham being challenged there by Gary Formato in the Gearmax Ford Falcon as Fords 1-2. Larry Wolfert's next in the Sonnes car, being followed there by Willie Hepburn. We've got Jürgen Zubenta. Nice to see him back in the racing, in with Lindenberg through the hangar corner on the way to Honda Hepburn. As they get onto the brakes, they bring it down into first gear, which will take them up to 160 k's as they accelerate down the hill into the Firehawk sweep. Coming out of the corner, Seddon. Then it's the first cool car of Wyndham. In with Lindenberg again, right on Larry Wolfert's tail. Ahead of them, they've got Gary Formato. In the distance is Ben Morgenrood, not too far away. Back into first for Goodyear corner, Morgenrood, Formato, Wolfert's there. Then it's Lindenberg, Hepburn, Jürgen Zubenta, and those cup cars filled with Seddon in front. Johnny Eckert there in the black one, and Vernon Bricknell just behind him as they tear through. And you can see how easy those cars get away. As they put the power down, those cars go sideways and paint black lines on the road. Lindenberg has got the power as he comes up, and Wolfert closes the door, and they both go off into the scenery. It's Wolfert in that Sonex Opel and Lindenberg in the Gestetner Ford are out of this race, and we've only gone a lap and a half. The action has started already in the front. Morgenrood's leading overall with Formato there. Willie Hepburn in here at third position. Zubentam's right on his tail in that novel Ford. He's up from pole. As we say, nice to see him back. And the cup cars, Seddon is under pressure. Oh, the body language says it all from Lindenberg. But racing accidents do happen. I'm sure nothing was intended there. Wyndham late on the brakes onto Honda Hepburn, gets right onto Seddon's tail in those cup cars, feeding the power and easily. Masses of acceleration and black lines as they go down to the Firehawk sweep and experience those G's again, going to the outside of the road. It's Morgenrood and it's Formato losing a little bit of ground, and Willie very happy in third position, but coming under pressure there from Zubenta. The Class B cars, those Westbank Cup cars, are hard at it. And Seddon has got to be careful. Wyndham's right on his tail. Johnny Eckert behind in that Monte Carlo Chev is in there amongst those cup cars as well. Here's slipstreaming at work as they go down to the Look Repco corner. It's going to be onto the brakes. He's going to try it round the outside. He didn't get him on the brakes. Seddon goes through, keeps a nice tight line as they go for Conti corner. Acceleration down there, it's back onto the brakes again. Wyndham just looking for a way to get through, but Seddon is not making it easy for him. And Johnny Eckert, with far more horsepower on the bonnet, is thereabouts as well, wanting to pass these two motor cars. Very fast through the Firehawk sweep they go, or Hanger corner on their way to Honda Heppen once again. Late on the brakes, he's going to try on the inside. No, Seddon is braking very late, goes a little bit wide. And Wyndham thinks, well, I've got him under pressure now, just waiting for that opportunity when he makes a mistake. Down the hill to the Firehawk sweep, start to accelerate out there to the tunnel. It's a very dangerous corner if you let it go here. There's a big wall waiting for you. Wyndham once again late on the brakes, but Seddon is keeping him out. Not going to let him through too easily. Easy on the powers, they come out of Goodyear corner, and Johnny Eckert, with more power in his bonnet than these other two, gets it sideways in a big way. More thunder behind them. Look at this pack of cars. Those big V8s hard at work. Claude Williams just behind the white car. That's the Willie Hepburn car. Being driven there by Vernon Bricknell. And it's still Wyndham putting on the pressure. Eckert trying to nudge through on the inside. But the two of them are saying, keep out of this battle of ours. We're fighting out the cup class. Wyndham, of course, had those two great debut wins at the Goldfields Raceway in Welkom. Here's the fight for third position in the cup class. Bricknell ahead there of Claude Williams. Martin van Zummeren in the Bigfoot Express Freight, this yellow car, that Opel Astra, is really giving his all. The East London driver and knows the circuit particularly well. Neville Rousseau, a Western Province Saloon car champion, who in with now is flat out through Hanger. And they're now starting to spread out as they get down to Honda Heppen. Who's going to be the latest on the brake? Rousseau closes up, goes on the inside of Van Zummeren, or does he? No, he doesn't. Van Zummeren keeps it out. They come together, coming together. But here's hard acceleration down to the Firehawk sweep. It's Morgenrood, overall leader in the West Bank Challenge class. Famata staying thereabouts. He hasn't closed and he hasn't lost any ground. Willie Hepburn is getting away from Zubentime, who is giving a great performance in that Ford Telstar up from Paarl. And here's Seddon. And Wyndham still trying to get through. Now he's really getting frustrated this one. He's going to give it his all. Bit of tire smoke as they light up those tires coming in. And Wyndham's losing it as he comes out of Goodyear. It got away so easily. And these cars look easy to drive, but you just put a fraction of too much power on and you're off the circuit. As Claude Williams comes past, Wyndham loses out position. Martin van Zummeren's going to make the best of it as well. Look at all the rubbish inside the motor car that he's picked up, being sucked into the car in his excursion off the road. Here's Claude Williams. On his tail, he's got Martin van Zummeren. That Bigfoot Express freight car, the yellow one, is giving a great performance here. Then it's Neville Rousseau, and Steve Wyndham seems to inspire Rousseau. He's starting to go left and right to get through. Flat out through Hanger. It's Morgenrood and Famata leading this race overall. This West Bank Formula has brought big crowds, as it has done here, to the Aldo Scribante in Port Elizabeth here this afternoon. Lovely sound, that big V8 accelerating out the Honda Hairpin. Seddon's way out in front in the 400 horsepower class, but here's the battle for second spot. Van Zummeren, the Bigfoot car, gone for the inside. He passes Claude Williams, almost makes it look easy as Neville Rousseau closes up his teammate in that Barnett's Auto Speeds car, the Crash Fat car. This is a great dice going on just behind them. They've got Steve Wyndham also trying to find a way through. Out through the Firehawk sweep on their way to Goodyear. It's all acceleration now and heavy braking. There's Wyndham now. Going on the inside of Rousseau, is he going to be able to do it? He's done it. He's got through. And this is going to inspire his fellow Cape Townian. It's Van Zummeren out the front. The East London boy from the border is doing so well in this racing this year. Claude Williams leading this championship as we go in with Wyndham once again. He's coming up in Claude Williams. Still a lot of muck inside the motor car. He's got him in breaking the inside. Is Van Zummeren ahead of him? Has he done it? He's done it. He's passed both the Barnett's Auto Speeds cars. Rousseau goes on the inside of Williams as well. Hard acceleration down to the Conti corner as they pull out of there. It's right and it's left, very hard on the drivers with those G-forces coming left and right. There's a couple of Gs that they're experiencing through there. Down through Hanger, flat out, Van Zummeren going well, knows the circuit. Here comes Steve Wyndham on a charge. He was in second spot. He's now in third and 1 second spot desperately. It's Claude Williams ahead of Rousseau. No, it's not. It's Rousseau staying ahead of Williams, who, as we say, is the points leader in this West Bank Cup Championship for the Class B cars. Here's Seddon out on his own, and the others not too far behind, but Zummeren's on a charge, using all the road as he sees this yellow and white first call cellular car of Wyndham appear in his mirrors. Careful through as they paint black lines on the road. Just look at all the rubber that's been put down through Goodyear Corner as Morgenrood goes on his way just past Derek van Vleck in the Bulldog Pub and Grill Ford Mustang. That's the ex-Althoff car, accelerating down the hill through Hanger and going flat out on his way to here at Honda Hairpin. Kamada goes on the inside of Derek van Vleck, loves those big motor cars, has come up from AC Cobra Racing, is getting a brand new West Bank Challenge car. That's a 700 horsepower car for racing in 1997. Gary Famada is going to be very happy with his second position behind Morgenrood in that Gear Max Ford. And Morgenrood coming home for his 9th win of the season. Very popular down here with the crowd at the Aldo Scribante circuit. Ahead of Gary Famada. Fords 1 and 2.
For the start of the race, I had a good start, and young Gary Famato got alongside me in the brakes at the end of the straight, but he was on the outside, and there wasn't much he could do to stay there, you know, with the next corner being a right-hander as well, and from there I just drew away from the field.
Steve was trying a couple of tricks that didn't work. Kept him at bay for a while, and then he eventually fell off himself. But we were having a good race until then. It's a pity he did fall off, because it would have been good to go all the way through.
Still points in the bag for you though.
Yes, I'm very happy about the points. It brings me closer to the championship. I'm happy.
Easy looking win there for Ben Morgenrood. Fords 1 and 2 with Willie Hepburn leading home the Chevy Brigade. Nice to see Patrick Seddon back winning again in that Mazda with Ford power ahead of Martin van Zoomen in the Bigfoot Chev Opel Astra. Let's take another look at that accident on lap 2 when Wilfred Lindenberg, 2 of the top guns, were taken out of this race.
Got to the end of the straight, and the next thing I felt something go from behind, and I actually thought something might have broken in the car, but went flying off, and Pete followed me shortly behind, so obviously we had some sort of coming together.
A lot of repair work going on in the pits, particularly for the Lindenberg team, seeing the possibility of their first overall West Bank Championship going down the drain. And as these are purpose-built cars, the only access for the driver is through his driver's door window. And once in position, of course, then you bolt on all the other essentials to make the car raceable. Ben Morgenrood, of course, has stretched his lead in the championship now to 22 points ahead of Peter Lindenberg. This is round number 16, another 12 laps of racing as this mighty machine, a lovely close-up of this car getting back into action. Comes up onto the starting grid behind the Ford Falcon XR6, which is going to lead them around on this parade lap. Driven by the chairman of the West Bank Association, Brian Kukulik. Very careful that you keep them at the right pace before they come to their starting positions. The whole field has got back into action. Morgenrood leading there with Gary Famata, Willie Hepburn on their tails, and then Patrick Seddon, winner of the West Bank Challenge cars class, is got Steve Wyndham warming up his tyres now. And you've got to have these tyres warm, because when you hit Repco corner at the end of the straight, if they're not warm, you're just going to go straight on when you apply the brakes. Morgenrood keeps this whole field behind him at the speed that he likes to go across the starting line. And Wyndham there just behind Patrick Seddon as they go. Oh, and we've got a spinner down at Goodyear Corner. We haven't got this race underway yet as Morgenrood leads his field away, and it's Steve Wyndham. Can you believe it? He applied the power too early and he spun out. He's right at the back of the field, and we've just got this 12-lapper underway. This is going to be another great drive for Wyndham if he can catch up to these West Bank Cup cars and pass them. The view from Neville Rousseau's car back in the field as Wyndham closes his line through that corner and is right across the road and puts Rousseau back in the pack as well. But up in the front, it's Ben Morgenrood. Famato losing a little bit of ground. He's got the ever-present Willie Hepburn, that ECL record right in his tail. And Peter Lindenberg, car repaired, going like a rocket. He's got that Yates engine, the only one in captivity outside the state, and it's got mega power. But Willie has too. Look at the way he drives that car. Onto the brakes there for the Honda Hepburn down to first gear, taking him up to 160 k's an hour. And you can see the difference between Chevy and Ford power here. There's very little between those two motor cars. Morgenrood making a meal of it. Here's Famata, happy to be in second position after those 2 wins, and Willie's trying, but here comes Peter Lindenberg. That Gestetner Ford really does go. Just behind him, Larry Wolford's in the Sonax Opel, and they start to accelerate it down the long straight down to look. Rep goes, sideways he goes. Lindenberg's looking for a way through. Willie's trying to block his passage as they come here. There's nothing he can do about it. The Yates-powered Ford is past. on his way down to the brake box, but Willie's putting up a fight. He's right on his tail and under his wing as he gets onto the brakes. Then it's Larry Wolford and Johnny Eckert in that Chev Monte Carlo. Those cars now leading the American NASCAR racing is just behind them. But he's still trying. He doesn't give up too easily. And Lindenberg, who set up lap records at Kyle Army, and he's going so well this year in that Gesteppner Ford, prepared by Jeff Mortimer, but he seems to have problems. His tyres starting to scrape against the left back mudguard as Willie comes past him, and the trap rods have broken at the back of Lindenberg's car, at the back axle, and he's going to be out of this race. Not going to make much more progress in this race and getting back to the pit safely. Larry Wolford moves up into 4th position behind Willie Hepburn and has him in his sights. Johnny Eckert is the next man along in that very good-looking Chev Monte Carlo. Wolford's done some great driving this year in that well-prepared motor car. Here's Lindenberg making it slowly back to the pits. You can hear the tyres scraping against the bodywork, and he's out of the race. Not a very successful weekend for the man who was in 2nd place in the championship, and his hopes of winning the championship seem to be disappearing. Great pity for this great South African sportsman. The heat of battle here, Sutton's now got Martin van Zimmerman. He's tasting blood now. He wants his first victory. These two drivers from the border area, one from Queenstown, the other one from East London, are hard at it, and they know the circuit particularly well, almost being their home track. In the front, it's Morgenrood. It's the other Ford, the Gearmax Ford of Gary van Martin, 2nd position. Happy to hold 2nd position. It goes flat out there through Hanger corner, and Willie Hip, look at the way he drives that motor car. He can really put and floor that big V8. Round Honda hairpin. Larry Wolford's got a lot closer this time. If he can beat Willie, it's going to be a real feather in his cap. And Johnny Eckert going well this year in the last few races. He just lights up his tyres coming out of the corner. Still it's Morgenrood. And Van Martin's got a little bit closer there as Willie Hepburn comes under pressure from Larry Wolford. More tyre smoke from Eckert in the background. 700 horsepower put down on the road. Gets to work, nearly gets away from Willie as they light up their tyres and set off down this long straight. Lovely sound from Morgenrood's car. You can hear the scream of that motor above all the others. Got an 18-to-1 exhaust pipe, which gives it a sound almost like that Mazda Rotary. And Wolford's got under the wing of Willie Hepburn. Going to be a hard man to pass. These are two Chev motors. In fact, it's a Pontiac motor in Larry Wolford's car. And the battle in the West Bank Cup car, the 400 horsepower car, has got Vernon Bricknell there holding off Neville Rousseau. He's made his way up through the pack. Behind them, he's got Derek van Vleck in that Bulldog Pub and Grill car, and Steve Wyndham getting into the picture now. He's really had to fight it up here to get onto the tail of these other motor cars. But still leading the 400 horsepower class, it's Patrick Seddon van Zimmerman fighting that car around the Conti Essence. And behind them, they've got Williams, they've got Van Vleck, they've got Rousseau, and they've got Wyndham. They're looking for a way to get through. As we go in with Wyndham on his way through, Hanger absolutely flat out. He's on Derek van Vleck's tail. He's going to go onto the brakes now. On the inside, as he got him, he takes one driver. He's got Van Vleck on the way into the Honda hairpin. And now his next problem is Neville Rousseau and the other drivers that lie ahead of him. Morgenrood still leads overall in the West Bank Challenge class, 700 horsepower class. Then it's Formato, still with Wolford challenging the ECL record, that red one of Willie Hepburn. A lot of power under that bonnet. He's been a V8 man all his life. He really knows how to prepare and handle these motor cars. Morgenrood comes at us at 260 kilometers an hour, brings it back down into 4th, go down through the 4-speed gearbox. Formato there, still with Willie Hepburn 3rd, and Larry Wolford giving chase. Great drive there by Willie Hepburn leading the Chevy Brigade. Making good progress, Neville Rousseau, who was way down the pack after being held up by the spinning Steve Wynn at the start of the race, has Vernon Bricknell up from karting, having his first drive in the West Bank modified class ahead of him, and his teammate Claude Williams just ahead of him in 3rd position, so the heat is really on for 3rd. Bricknell comes through. Then it's Neville Rousseau, and a hard-charging Wyndham is back in business and chasing hard. They see Williams in the distance as well as they go flat out through hangers. And Rousseau goes on the inside of Bricknell. He opens up the door a little bit there, and he's going to bring Wyndham with him. He does. Wyndham gets through on the inside, moves up a spot as well, gives a little wave of acknowledgement to thank him for moving over, and is chasing after Rousseau, which, as we said earlier, really inspires his fellow Cape Townian. Up in the front of this class, the 400 horsepower class, the West Bank Cup cars, it's still Seddon and a hard-charging Martin van Zimmerman, that big Foot Express freight motor car. Here's Rousseau now with Wyndham. He's bringing Wyndham along with him very quickly. He's got his teammate ahead of him. Claude Williams is not safe in third position with his two charging as they are at the moment. They've had a real hard race, getting it sideways, not letting it getting too far away, powering her on down the long straight. Here's Slipstream at work. Wyndham's going to look for the inside. That's the better way to go in the break. No, it looks like Rousseau's defending his line. He's an old hand at the Saloon Car Racing. Wyndham tries around the outside. He's bringing Bricknell with him in that white car. That's the Willie Hepburn's spare car that he's driving, and Wyndham has to settle for fifth position. He goes around, and Bricknell's gone off. Came short there as Derek van Vleck comes through in that Bulldog Ford Mustang. Rousseau now looking for his teammate. Claude Williams just ahead of him. The Barnett ordered the crash flash cars are just ahead of them. Really working that car over, loving this racing. Rousseau having his first look at the Aldo Scribante circuit from the driving seat of one of these powerful V8s. Going for the inside. Is he going to get it this time? He's going to bring Wyndham with him each time if he does it. No, Williams is still staying ahead. Late on the brakes goes Wyndham, locking a wheel or two. Not going to do his chances any good. Here's the first two cars in that class. Still, it is Patrick Seddon is not going to let Van Zimmerman through one little bit. Linton Dunkley in the Sabat Opel almost on notices in the third position with Williams just behind. And here comes Neville Rousseau and Steve Wyndham looking for his way to get through. This is the corner that he doesn't like. This is where he spun out earlier, and he's not going to make that mistake again. He's had two spins, in fact, on that corner here today. It's Morgenrood leading overall and getting away from Famata in a comfortable second position, happy for the 6 points that he's going to pick up in his race. Willie Hepburn is holding off Larry Wolf. He can't do much in that Sonics Opel. There's very little between the power of these two motor cars. He'll have to fight his way through if he wants to get through in this particular race. Here they come. Here's Williams. And Wyndham's trying once again. He's going around the outside. Daring move to make. They make contact as they're going for Luke Repko. But Rousseau holds him off. And Steve Wyndham has got to make another plan if he's going to get past Neville Rousseau in that Barnett's car. He's putting the pressure on wherever he goes. He gets it sideways over the curb and he comes around the Conti S's. Continental corner, well identified. There's they go down the dip to hanger corner. It's flat out through here. They don't lift one little bit. As you can hear, that big V8 revving at 7,000. Hard at work. And Rousseau's locked his wheels and gone straight. Rousseau has lost his position. He's gone straight at the Honda hairpin. And Steve Wyndham, thanks very much, has moved up another spot. Wolford still holding on to Willie Hepburn as they go into their final 2.5 kilometres of this race. Formato second. Here's Hepburn. And there's Larry Wolford. That's the West Bank Challenge cars. Willie Hepburn's not going to lose this position. Larry Wolford hasn't got an answer for the way that Willie can hold him off and make his car very wide around this tight circuit. And Patrick Seddon knows he's under pressure. That corner's getting slippery. He's also starting to paint those long black rubber lines on the road. Wyndham has also got one lap to pass Claude Williams. Very late on the break goes Williams, and so does Wyndham, as the blue smoke, it must be very, very hot in that motor car, starts to show. And he's got him on the outside. Is he going to try the same trick that he did with Neville Rousseau? He's got a better berth this time. He goes on the inside corner. It's the better way into the corner. Look, Repko, before they get onto the brakes. He's done it. He's moved up another spot. Wyndham's gone to fourth behind Linton Dunkley in that Sabat Opel. And he's come right from the back of the entire field. What a drive there by Steve Wyndham in that first call Cellular Opel. But it's Morgenrood coming through for his second win of the day. It's going to be his 10th win of the 16 races in this West Bank V8 series. And Morgenrood in the Falcon certainly deserves it. Hasn't put a wheel wrong, has not been headed, and has also set up the fastest lap in the day's racing. Ben Morgenrood comes through to win it ahead of Gary Formato. Willie Hepburn is going to come through next with the ever-present shadow of Larry Wolford in the Sonics Opel right on his tail. And Patrick said, still with Martin Van Zimmerman giving chase, is going to have his second win for the day. It's going to be 2 wins for the Fords. They won the challenge class, the 700 horsepower. They're going to do the same in the 400 horsepower West Cap class as well. It's been a day of doubles for these magnificent West Bank modified V8s. Ben Morgenrood doing the double in the West Bank Challenge class, and Patrick Seddon doing it for Ford in the West Bank Cup class as well.
There are still 5 points to be made up before I can start the championship. But a lot of things can happen between now and the end of the season. We still have 4 races. If things don't go well in Cape Town, then it goes down to Kyalami. But let's hope we can do it in Cape Town, yeah.